Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Howdy, folks. Welcome to Arclight's Asylum. I'm your host, Zach. We have another episode of Real-Time Painting for you tonight. Quick shout out to the channel sponsor, Aries Minis and Games. Derek's always helped support my endeavors for the last few years now. Continues to do so. Check out his web store for anything and everything Battletech. He's also got a ton of other miniature and game lines available, cards, all kinds of stuff. Tons of dice options and other things, other hobby-related supplies. As a Canadian, he's my #1 pick for anything Battletech related from the US that I need to buy that I'm not getting directly from Iron Wind Metals for their catalog or Catalyst Game Labs for promotional purposes. Tonight we're going to continue to work on the Clan Nova Cat Alpha Galaxy mechs. We're going to focus on the arms and legs getting lightly edge highlighted as well as scuffed up and scratched. We're going to then do a few final brighter stars on the mechs, probably bust up the airbrush for that. Then we're going to move on to weapon effects. Getting pretty close to completion here. I did go ahead and do something off camera. I just went ahead a little bit of time this morning when my daughter was sleeping. I went ahead and varnished, then applied some decals, however you want to pronounce it, and then varnished them again just to get them back to a flat finish. I didn't really want to do the decals on the stream just because it's kind of a monotonous thing. It's not that interesting, and it's a very monotonous, kind of boring process. So I did that off camera. Just made that snap. Figured I'd do that off camera. That way we can actually focus on just painting tonight. I do want to finish these by kind of like end of play Saturday or this coming Monday, next Monday. But yeah. So just wanted to make sure we could crack on with some actual painting. Quick reminder, pop on over to the Discord if you haven't already in the Real-Time Painting channel. I'd like to invite everyone to post your work in progress shots, photos of your finished minis, or any other hobby or art related things you want to share. I've got the link in the description on YouTube. I've also dropped it into the chat on both YouTube and Discord. Correction, YouTube and Twitch. Without further ado, let's hop over to the painting desk and get to it. Alrighty, seems like the audio levels are good. Got my Diet Coke, my little sweet treat for the evening. Yeah, I've got a new camera mount. I don't know if any of you folks who are in the chat have seen one of my latest social media posts. I did get a new overhead camera mount, so it's a lot more stable. Should be a lot less shaking and a lot less of my autofocus fighting with trying to keep this all in focus. But yeah, definitely happy with the changes. What we're gonna do is, before I bust out my detail brush, we're gonna do a little light dry brush. I want to grab two different makeup brushes here. We're gonna go with that angled one. Also got, we'll go with this. So I've got, these are kind of like chisel brushes. They're just makeup brushes, but I'm going to use them as dry brushes because why not? Pardon me. Burping over here. What I want to use these for is I just want to pick out a few areas to do some very quick dry brushing to get some cheap edge highlights. Earlier, like very early on, we did go ahead and apply some very basic dry brushing to a few of these areas just to kind of hit some of these edges. We're just going to come back in with slightly brighter grays and do that, and then we're going to come back in with the detail brush and we're going to actually edge highlight some of these areas. Not all of them, just some of them, just to kind of hit some of those bigger edges and make them pop a little bit. I do want all the arms and legs to be black, so I don't want them to present as gray. So I want to be kind of very conservative with how much of this I do, because I don't want to turn the overall tone to like a dark gray. But I do want to highlight this a bit more because I do find that the black is a bit flat, even with that little bit of dry brushing that we did previously. So let's go ahead and get to it. Zoom out here. So I've got somber gray, which is what we initially dry brushed with. I'm probably going to go with something a little bit brighter, which is going to be, this is a graphite gray, basalt gray. Yeah, it's a basalt gray from Vallejo Model Colors. Just going to do the big dirty on paper towel. And hit some of these edges, especially where I have some of these decals hanging over a couple edges. Not in a lot of areas, but in a few of them. It should help things a little bit. Oops. I am going to be coming back in later on to do some like dings and scratches, as I mentioned. So some of these areas where the dry brushing isn't quite as like neat and tidy as it could be aren't, you know, it's not the end of the world. So we can just use that as like the base for some scratches and stuff. But coming in with this smaller dry brush to hit some of these really fine edges on the inside of the leg here. Just getting used to the new height of my camera here. It's slightly higher, a little bit further back. Just trying to make sure I get on the inside of the leg here. Just like that. Just for quick, cheap edge highlights, because I don't want to have to do too much with the detail brush. But I just really want to make sure that these edges pop a little bit more, because I spent so much time making this blue pop that if the black ends up looking super flat, it's just going to look, I don't know, lazy, weird. Definitely are a few areas we're going to have to use the detail brush, but try to minimize that. The nice thing is it's a dry brush, it's quick, and this will kind of get like, I don't know, around 2/3 to 3/4 of all the edge highlighting done that we want. Look around the feet here, this is kind of nice. Down here on the lower leg. I'm going to do the feet, or the foot on the other side rather. I was going to say to do the feet on the other side, but so this big area here where we got that big smudge of gray, that's not a big deal. I'm going to come back in and ding this up, and then we're going to be getting the feet kind of dirty on a lot of these anyways later on when we do the basing, so totally fine. I'm going to pop over to my PC quickly, just make sure everything's going good on the connection side. Yep, well, looks good. Just a quiet chat tonight. Nothing wrong with that. Wanted to make sure I wasn't talking to myself. I mean, I am talking to myself, but you know what I'm saying. Just slightly. Yeah, I was just waiting for my my camera to get into focus there. Second, whoops. I'm going to be kind of cognizant of the metallics that we've done previously here. I'm going to kind of do some of that dry brushing around this area. I can get a little bit on these edges. Yeah, a bit up on here on the arms. Angus Khan, what's going on? The punchy highlights, yes. Oh yeah, the big punchy highlights on the blue, I'm assuming, is what you're talking about. I'm a big fan of how this turned out. It's the blue is super bright, but also dark. Like if you look at the overall surface area, like most of the blue is actually covered in dark blue and purple, but those highlights make it seem so much brighter than it actually is. This is looking honestly a little, like, quite a bit better. Just having this little bit that I'm doing with this dry brush is making these arms and legs pop quite a bit better. And when you're trying to highlight black, less is more, because there really does come like a very fine line where if you cross that line, you've now painted a dark gray scheme and not a black one. So I think that's honestly one of the biggest mistakes that people do with black is they over highlight it and it becomes a dark gray and not a black. I like to kind of look at things from all sides, and I'll do one part with kind of a darker highlight color. Whoops. And then take a look at it from a few different angles, kind of go from there. Just have a little bit too much moisture in my brush here. Oops. So towards the middle. Not my best work there, but that's okay. Kind of on the inside of the arm there. I'm going to do that more so on the front as well. Kind of get kind of in on the like inside of the wrist area, I guess, if this thing did have a wrist. And just a little bit up on the top of the barrel. Kind of stroke toward the back there to get some of those edges caught. See if I can kind of catch some of these edges. I kind of am. This will kind of fade out a little bit of that Clan Novacat emblem too, which is kind of nice. Help it blend in with the paint job a little bit better. Nice, that was a quick, easy little highlight. And this guy is done. We honestly might not need to do too much with the edge, like the actual detail brush to do any edge highlighting. We'll take a look once we do all the dry brushing, but we might actually get away with just doing some dry brushing on these guys. Loading a little bit of moisture into my brush, and then a bunch of paint. Have you painted any mercs yet? I have questions about Snords. I have actually painted Snords I did a commission a couple of years back. So I painted Snords back in 2021 for a fella in the States. I ended up doing like 16 mechs or something like that for him. I just did mostly, it was like a mix of olive drab and brown, and then some different like colored panels for the different lances. I've also done tons of Eridani Light Horse, which are mercs, but they just rock olive drab, which is one of my favorite color schemes ever, because there's actually a ton of tonal variation and neatness that you can add to olive drab. paint schemes. So, but yeah, to answer your question, yes, I've done a number of mercs. I've also done Periphery Starguard, which the entire mech is like a Starfield scheme. I have those pretty, I don't know, a couple years back on my feed on Instagram as well as Facebook. Yeah, I did like an Archer, Shadowhawk, a Wasp, and a Stinger, if I remember correctly. Trying to think what other mercs I've done. But yeah, with Snords, I haven't done Rhonda's Highlander, but my buddy Suge, one of the other Camo Specs guys, has. I believe Jaded Falconer did them as well. I think Jaded Falconer on Instagram. Jaded Falconer, like a jaded person. Do you still do the Snords pack with the Rainbow Frankenmech and Purple Cyclops? I have not done the Snords pack, actually. I've not done that one. The Snords that I did for Dude a couple of years ago was just like the Game of Armored Combat box set, as well as a couple Lance packs from the Clan Invasion Kickstarter that a guy sent me. He sent them to me. I cleaned them up a bit, and then away we go, or away I went. Go ahead and grab some more of that Basalt Gray. I do like this Basalt Gray because it's a bit more of a neutral gray, and it looks a little bit warm compared to some of the other gray that I have, especially in comparison to this very blue. So that's why I'm kind of leaning on this. Loading up my brush again here. Really don't want to end up with any crazy streaking on this guy, because I do have some pretty big panels on the lower legs. Really going to focus on just like top down and front to back, essentially. Really focusing on top down here. We'll go ahead to the other leg here. Yeah, really kind of focus on top down, so this leg will get highlighted slightly differently, just a little bit. I could use a larger dry brush that covers a little bit more area. It would go a little bit more quickly, but then it wouldn't be as accurate, especially when I'm over and around some areas where there's the blue. I don't want to end up hitting some of that blue area. So that's why I'm going to be using this kind of slower dry brush. From Bishop 0924, when painting striped camo, do you use an airbrush or hand paint for max? I do both. Actually, I do a combination. So especially if you look at some of my Clan Novacat Sigma Galaxy stuff that's done in Tiger Stripe, that is a combination of using masking putty to do the black and green stripes, and then for the smaller khaki pinstriping, like it still fills out a fair amount of the camo scheme, but I do all that just with a brush, because I wanted much sharper lines, and with how I wanted to layer the colors, it just made a lot more sense to do it with a sable brush as opposed to an airbrush. for that scheme in particular, I basically layered it in black and highlighted it, and then actually dry brushed it, and then did the masking, just kind of grabbing, I'll show you exactly what I use. AK masking putty, this stuff that it's kind of self-leveling. It just like eats the paint. Like, this isn't brand new. I've had this for about 2 years now. And you can just rip gobs of it off. It's really cool stuff, actually. And yeah, I would literally just kind of do that. And then I would, whenever I do striping, I pick a direction. So I kind of did all mine, generally speaking, kind of following a similar angle, like so. That makes sense. And then I would come in, press them into the recesses. I also have sculpting tools, kind of like these. It's just a few of them, like silicone sculpting tools, and I would kind of go through and press all of the putty down onto the surface and into the recesses to make sure that I didn't have any areas not covered that I actually wanted covered, and just to make sure that it stayed seated right. That way, when I was getting in there with the airbrush, I wasn't kind of pushing the masking putty off. Hopefully that's the question. It's rather long-winded of me. I'm a little sippy sip of my Diet Coke here. I'm just sucking some of the moisture out of this this brush. I just give it a quick clean, just because I don't want too much of this paint to dry up in this brush. It's already pretty old and beat up, so I'm trying to extend its life a little bit longer. I'm not going to add any more moisture to it just because it's got a fair amount in it already. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of paint and then come to my paper towel. Yeah, then when it comes to the khaki striping on that, those Clan Novacat Sigma Galaxy mechs, I started with the brightest color, which was like a really bright khaki, and then I started layering kind of within that khaki, slightly darker than darker than darker khakis that ended with a ruddy brown in Formula P3's Bloodstone. So it was a bit of a mix, but yeah, and a much different layering process for that. When I did the airbrushing, I layered up from dark to light. When I did the khaki, I did light to dark. Both applications are totally legit. It's just what I decided to do. Cool, this guy's done. I'm gonna go on to the Nova here. I think definitely on like the Nova and some of these fellers with kind of these more rounded surfaces, especially with the laser barrels and stuff like that, I'm going to have to come in with the detail brush to edge highlight some of these panels, but that's totally fine. And it's going to be a fairly low effort that won't take a long time, and it'll make things really, really nice. Oops. There's the one downside of only using just like a single magnet, and these guys is if I push on them too hard, they kind of slide around a little bit on my magnetic holder. But that's okay. Make sure I get on the inside of the arms here. These legs. Oh, I completely ignored the end of your one message there, Bishop. I'm looking to do Ghost Bear or Skeshik. Nice, yeah. So you could totally do the masking that I do with the AK masking putty. Thanks, I've used the putty, but it seems to either flatten or drip at times for me. Yeah, so the trick with that stuff is you want to use not a huge amount when you're going to do your striping, and then really press it down onto the miniature and that's why I have the sculpting tools. So you use less of it and then press it down and spread it thin. Not so thin that you're going to see the miniature coming through, but thin enough that it's not going to sag. Because yeah, if you do have big gobs of it, the actual physical weight of it, it'll like start to like droop and like stretch and drip down. Yeah, I definitely know what you mean by the drip. But yeah, use less of it and really flatten it down to the miniature. Sculpting tools really pay off for things like that, and yeah. And hey, if you're ever interested in doing things with like green stuff putty, if you get a little practice using the sculpting tools with your masking putty, it's kind of like a little accessory to practicing with some green stuff. Kind of trying to force something into a certain shape and design using your sculpting tool. It's a good way to practice. At least that's the way I look at it. Some people just look at it as like another thing they got to learn, kind of a pain in the ass, which I totally get too. Because if you're not trying to learn that and you just want to achieve that one thing, it's like, well, yeah, it's kind of annoying. What handle is that? This is just the top puck of a Thunderhead Studio painting handle. It's like pretty sure it's a free STL file on his website. He sent this to me for free a long time ago, just for testing purposes. This is like the version 2, like the final version. I tried the first version and this one. This one's far superior than the first one, but it's got a bunch of 1 1/4 inch washers that are stacked up on the inside. Comes up to like here, about yay big. And then I've got a bunch of magnets stacked up inside the main post as well as the puck. Bunch of 1/2 inch magnets. So it's very strong, like super strong. I gotta really grab to pull that off. I've just always enjoyed using the magnets because I don't really have to mess around unless I'm doing sub assemblies. I don't really have to mess around with using like cork handles and things like that. So I can just either glue a washer or a single 6x2mm magnet into the base. Just stick them on, quick and easy. I'm all about efficiency, so. Yeah, I think the Nova's probably done. I think we're on the verge of overdoing it. We do this Fire Moth. Really gonna try to limit how much actual edge highlighting I have to come back in and do, because I really want to try and actually smash through all of the weapon effects tonight, because then that means next stream on Thursday we can just focus on doing like canopies and start doing some of the basing, maybe even do all the painting of the bases. And then after that, that means this coming Saturday, because it is Monday, this coming Saturday, we could just do the basing with all the vegetation, because I'm going to be throwing a decent amount of vegetation on all these bases, so I can kind of show you how I layer my vegetation to get like a super diverse, scenic, like forested or swampy base. But yeah, so I'm going to really try to smash through this stuff as quickly as possible. And I think honestly the dry brush is doing a good enough job at highlighting a lot of this. Doesn't need to be too crazy because it is black. Like, it's supposed to be black on the arms and legs. Oops. There we go. Good enough. We'll go on to the Pouncer. bunch more paint here. Once we're done this pouncer, we'll be 5 mechs through, and we'll have 5 left. The 2 biggest ones are the Warhawk and the Timberwolf, which we've already done. They have the most surface area with black to do, so. The only downside with dry brushing is it will, I mean, I guess there's a plus side to it too, if you use it the right way, but it will definitely, if you miss any mold lines or have any weird areas that you didn't clean up that well, it will definitely make them pop out like crazy. Especially more so if you're doing dry brushing with oils. And yes, I did speak correctly. Dry brushing with oils is a thing. I learned how to do it about a year ago, actually, from Dale Ida. He's one of the Camo Specs guy, goes by Wonder Gecko. He also happens to run Hardware Studios, which sells shitloads of terrain and drop ships and stuff like that. Really, really good stuff. Actually, Ares Minis and Games, this channel sponsor, sells a number of Hardware Studios products. Highly recommend checking them out. Big fan of Dale's dropships. Like I've seen a couple of his in person. This time last year, actually, at Gen Con. Around this time, I should say. This time in a handful of days. Yeah, this guy's pretty good. But yeah, it's a very cool process. Painting with oils is very interesting. He uses acrylic to kind of do some very basic base coating and zenithal highlighting, just using like contrasting colors. For Jade Falcons in particular, he base coats them in purple, and then he will zenithal highlight them using like a goblin green, or like a green skin, like a mid-tone green. And he'll literally just do it with a spray can. He'll just spray them from top down. And then he uses that color gradient just as a base to do some dry brushing. And he dry brushes with various oil colors using primarily oil brushers from like MIG. And does it in tones that are much brighter than he actually wants the finish to look like. So it was like a lot of like really bright desaturated yellows and a couple like mid-tone greens, but it was the end result was going to be Clan Jade Falcon Delta Galaxy. And basically once you dry brush with those brighter colors, dry brushing with the oils creates a very, very smooth blend and gradient, and it catches on edges really, really well. So all your edges get highlighted extremely quickly, and you can build some airbrush like gradients that have like a very small amount of implied texture that actually looks really good on the miniatures. Like it's not a bad kind of texture. It looks really, really nice. And if you go to Camo Specs online, the website, and take a look at Wonder Gecko's stuff, you can look at his Clan Jade Falcon stuff and see exactly what I mean. It is absolutely gorgeous stuff. And yeah, he once he does all that dry brushing, he basically goes in and sprays them with like an ink, like a yellow ink, and it tints everything and creates like these beautiful gradients and all the different colors and hues that he adds in. And it creates like all this crazy subtle color variation and tonal variation that just looks absolutely beautiful. That's about good. We've got the not a Wolverine Juicy here. Is the Conjurer or the Hellhound, depending on your preferred nomenclature. One of my favorites. Finally getting to sit here and paint along with you tonight. Ram Jam, what's going on? Happy to have you out. Just testing my dry brush on the base there. See if I have any excess I got to take out. Oh, this is going to make for some really nice cheap edge highlights here because there's these really pronounced hard edges. Oh yeah. I don't know if you folks are noticing, but my camera is a lot more stable. I'm just like looking at it in my, I have a monitor sitting on my painting desk that allows me to see kind of what my camera sees. Helps remind me when I've got things out of focus, but yeah, normally when I dry brush like this, it shakes like crazy because the old mount that I had was just a single arm that held the camera overhead, whereas this is like 2 posts with a cross beam, so it is super stable, and I'm really liking how stable the camera picture is. Seems I don't know, it seems like the quality overall is just better. Maybe that's just me, maybe trying to be optimistic, but let me know in the chat. Just painting up some minis for a buddy's Gen Con army because why not work against a super fast timeline? Nice. What are you painting up? Like what army? Battletech or? And if it is Battletech, what army? Because I'm very curious. What faction is he playing? And is he playing in the Alpha Strike or the Classic tournaments? Or is it just going to be pick-up games? Because those are always fun too. I really had a good time at Gen Con last year. I'm kind of sad I'm not going this year. Just, life is way too busy. Yeah, Battletech Hell's Forces. These are Master Minions. Nice. I sat through a game of Classic with Raymond Crackerbox, Raymond White, who goes by Crackerbox, as well as Jeff Witt, who's Kevin Witt, aka Brashido's dad, and then a handful of other guys. Sat in on their Masters Minion game last year, and that was super fun. I've only ever seen a few games of Classic played, and much of my exposure to Classic has been on YouTube, so getting to see a bunch of people getting super into it around a table, tossing dice, and the big epic cinematic moments with the mechs duking it out is super fun. So I'd like to fairly certain they do an Alpha Strike Masters and Minions portion as well, correct? Or am I imagining that? Is it only Classic that they do? So I would like to do the Masters and Minions the next time I come out to Gen Con. I'm hoping to come out next year. We'll see. It's going to depend on how many trips my wife wants to do next year. If she wants to go on a family vacation instead, which I don't blame her. I'm going to try to get a couple more trips into Gen Con before my daughter gets old enough that going on family vacations actually really makes sense. Yeah, they're doing an Alpha Strike one this year. That's what these are for. Nice. Yeah, I'm super stoked on Alpha Strike. Classic looks cool. I just don't have anybody to play with or practice here because I live in the middle of nowhere in Manitoba. So just is what it is. But I would love to learn Classic and play Classic occasionally. I think it would be super fun. There's a lot of rounded surfaces on this guy, so I'm probably going to have to come back and do a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, but definitely more on this mech with the detail brush to do some of the edge highlighting. Gotta wrap a little bit. So I'm curious, out of your buddy's Hell's Horses force, like what is he running? I'm curious to hear what force list he's rocking. Or I guess he's probably just running a handful. Like he's probably just got a couple miniatures, right? If it's the Alpha Strike one. Because I guess for Masters and Minions, like it's just like one or two mechs that you paint and bring, right? That's a secret? Ah, I see. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. OPSEC's a thing. Add a little bit of moisture to my brush because it's getting a little bit dry, and a little bit more paint as well. I just don't want to start getting too much chalky stuff on this dude. Yeah, I'm just about done with this guy, I think. I think that's more than enough with the dry brush. I don't want to do too much, and I think this is going to start turning gray if I do any more. Just got two left. I'll send you pics from the event. You'll be there observing. Nice. Do you know if they bringing back the mech pods this year? They had them last year. I played in those. It was pretty fun. Like the battle pods from oh god, name escapes me. It's right on the tip of my tongue. But the place from Texas that has all the battle pods. Yeah, they brought them last year. It was super awesome. I was really happy because they weren't initially planning on bringing them, I guess. But then they decided to. I was very happy about it. Get like the inside of the legs on this guy here. Yep, I think I saw an event I go on searching and done this before. Loved every minute of it. Virtual World? No. So it's I guess kind of yeah. It's Mech Warrior mech pods. So it's just like a little booth that you kind of like sit in, slide a door closed, and it's got a shitty CRT TV and a bunch of screens, and you're basically playing a bastardized version of Mech Warrior 4 with their controllers, which is like you got the foot pedals and stuff like that, which you can use for like torso twist. You have a few different control setups you can use. It's pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. Had a good time. There's like when you pick the mechs, they have like weird loadouts. Like if you pick like they don't like the Mad Cat Mark II doesn't have like a standard Mad Cat Mark II loadout. It has dude, it had a weird loadout. I can't even remember what it had, but I ended up going with like a Direwolf just because it had like a huge amount of firepower as ever. I mean, Direwolves just always have a huge amount of firepower, but yeah. Didn't have like a standard loadout by any means. None of the mechs did. So it's kind of fun that way. Like you pick your favorite mech, but then you get bamboozled with a loadout that you aren't expecting. This is the last mech we've got to do with this color. I think go back through quickly with the detail brush and hit any edges I think that need to get hit. It's mostly going to be around like laser barrels and things like that. Just some of those curved panel lines that this just doesn't catch that well. So this thing does get a little bit heavy sometimes. It's handy for some things and then not so much for others. So generally speaking, like going with the lighter handle, less strain. Yeah, I don't want to risk turning this thing gray, so I'm going to stop dry brushing it. But yeah, pretty decent so far. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and rinse out this dry brush. And have a sip of my Diet Coke. Go ahead and pop paint away. Okay. I'm going to come in with detail brush, tapping it to my wet palette sponge just to add a little bit of moisture. Bring it in a little bit closer. And then, yeah, I'll just see about a little bit more moisture to my brush. So I'll go over to the other side just to make sure the other side gets touched as well here. So back over to these ones here as well. Just a little one, nice little thin one, because this isn't a very prominent edge right there. And I'm probably going to call that one good. I'm going to move these dry brushes out of the way here. I'm just rearranging a couple things next to my palette off camera. Okay. Go ahead and load a little bit of moisture into my brush. I'm going to grab that same basalt gray. Just checking the consistency on my thumb nail. Come over to the other one over here. Now, the left arm on this Warhawk is slightly different than the right arm. The left arm rocks 2 ERPPCs, whereas the right arm rocks the large pulse lasers. So the barrels are slightly different. This one has like these little venting ports, which we're going to do up with a little bit of object source lighting eventually, but just not right now. When we do the weapon effects, we will. Okay, it's a bit of a chunky edge highlight, but that's all right. I'll tidy that up after. And that one. Not too concerned. It's drying out on my brush there. Is this the brace? I'm fine with the scratchy look because I'm going to be kind of dinging these guys up a little bit. So that's probably good, honestly. Probably doesn't need that much more. I just wanted to make sure those little areas by the barrels got a little bit of edge highlighting. I'm going to tidy up just a couple areas here. I'm going to grab a little bit of black gray from Vallejo. It's like just a straight up charcoal gray, very, very dark. Back out a little claustrophobic here. My camera was struggling a little bit being so close up too, so. Cleaning up in those recesses a little bit. Flip it over to this side. Just like so. That's good enough. I'm going to go ahead and go on to the Timberwolf. I just want to take a quick look at a few areas here, see if there's anything that really stands out to me that needs some highlighting. Honestly, some of the casting was so bad around some of the areas on the arms here, I almost don't really want to highlight them any further, but there are a couple of areas here I'm just going to touch up. And then near the front. So that one's good. I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the other side, like the left arm now. Just hitting kind of these really prominent top edges. Part of the angle here, I'm just trying to make sure I can see it. Kind of important, just a wee bit. It is a bit dry where I am right now, just in my office. So, as ever, it seems. Summertimes are just kind of brutal here. No central air in my home, so the office and the house tends to get pretty warm, especially with a lot of lights and stuff going on or being on for extended periods. So. The weird brush angle here. That's pretty bad, but that's okay. Come back in with the black gray and clean it up. That's good enough. Cool. I just wanted to make those, those arms pop a little bit more. We'll come back in with a slightly brighter gray and hit a few areas just with a quick dry brush to insinuate some scratches and scrapes. It's going to be more so focused around the legs, just a couple areas on the outside of the arms. But yeah. All right, we'll have a few to edge highlight here. These laser barrels. Quick and easy, and then I'll get these ones back here. That's pretty good. Come over to the other side here and we'll do the same thing. Nova! Yeah, what's going on, Commissar Knight? Happy to see you in the chat. I roll through these as quickly as I can before the paint dries out on my brush, as it will inevitably do. Might just be about to that point, actually. There we go. Good enough. They're not winning any awards, but you know, they're crisp enough. They make the barrels nice and shiny, so. And rinse out my brush. I think that's about good for the Nova. I don't really need to. I just wanted to hit those laser barrels. I'm going to do the same thing on the. Actually, I don't think I need to on the Fire Moth. I think we're good. I painted most of the barrels silver, and they're casted pretty terribly. So, I think we're good to go on the Pouncer as well. I'm just taking a quick gander here, seeing if there's anything that stands out that I really should hit, but I think we're good to go. Yep. Yeah, we're gonna do just a little bit on the barrel of this large. I think it's a large pulse laser. It's either a large pulse or an ER large in the right arm here of the Conjurer. So I'm going to do another smaller edge highlight, just a bit further back. Maybe not. Let's see. Pop it a little bit. I think we're good. I'm going to come in with just a little bit of black, pure black here, and just clean up this little transition zone. Like so. And I'm going to grab a little bit of the black gray from Vallejo. I'm going to clean up just a little bit. I just don't want that line to be so bold. I'm just cleaning that up just slightly. Boom. I do see a couple little areas down on the lower legs here that are curved that could use a little bit of highlighting, just on the lower leg here. These will probably end up getting added into like scuffs and scratches later. So, don't need to be super neat with this. Any crazy bold lines only because I can't see. Yeah, fair enough. I try to do them as fine as I can because I can always make them bolder, but it's a lot harder to make them not as bold. So I'm a less is more kind of guy when it comes to edge highlights. I'm gonna get a little bit more of the basalt gray, which is the edge highlight color. Kind of hit. Oh, that's a good crispy line right there. Back in with a little bit of that black gray and just clean up down here and a little bit up here. There we go. Good enough. I think just on the Vapor Eagle, we're just going to do that that laser barrel as well. Here. I'm going to come back in and clean up the transition between the metallic and the dark gray as well. Add a little bit of black. Do that little edge highlight there too. Sharpen that up. And then I'll hit the inside of the barrel here. Paint dried out on my brush. I'm just going to go ahead and reapply. Just touch this one here. Like so. Good to go. I'm going to get this little edge as well. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to quickly edge highlight around this. I actually don't. I think that's a triple laser housing. I actually don't know. I don't know the Vapor Eagle that well, to be brutally honest. It's not one that I'm super familiar with. I have a lot of my classics that I tend to have, like I've painted many Timberwolves, painted a handful of Mad Dogs in my day. Yeah, I don't know, I have like my favorites that I paint frequently, and then I have these other ones that are a little bit more obscure for me. Not that I don't know about them, I just I've never really used them. So yeah. Just want to try to edge highlight this hand a little bit. Those fingers. Okay. And this guy's good to go. Pretty happy with that. All right. I'm going to add just a little bit more of the basalt gray to the palette just because it is almost out. Okay, I'm going to do my best to hit some of these edges very finely. That's pretty good. I don't want to do too much more than that. I'm going to do kind of the same thing on the other side. Just a little bit of a edge highlight on the internal circle area, like right up here. So that's what I did on that side. Okay, I'll do a few areas on the forearms as well. This little laser housing here. Try to get this line a little bit sharper. Sharper line on the hand. Okay. Yeah, that's probably good for the arm. I'll go ahead and do the other one here. And I think honestly, like I'll do a little bit up on the backside here, around this and on these panels. And other than that, between the arm and those, this guy's pretty good to go. Almost done. It's there as well. A little bit on the hand. I think that's probably good. Evening, everyone. Trailblazer 5712. What's going on? Happy to have you with us. Comstar Night, tremendous work. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna come kind of to this guy's backside here. I'm gonna come to this guy's backside. That out of context and clipped in audio could be very, well, somebody could be very upsetting. Choose my words carefully here. I'm on the internet, after all. This guy's about done. Look at that. Phrasing. Phrasing is everything. So is grammar. Alrighty. Just a couple little panels there. So this is one of the Warhawk and the Conjurer are kind of the three mechs I want to make sure look just a little bit nicer than the rest. Adding a few little edge highlights into that little corner. I'm going to kill them a little bit with some black gray. It's a little bit harsh up in that one corner there. Cool. Right, this guy's looking super sexy. Really digging this. That blue is just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Digging it. Okay. We just have the Piranha, and then after this, the Vixen. Once I finish this bit of edge highlighting, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break because it's been a bit over an hour here that we've been going. Mostly just the barrels here on the Piranha, I think. So gonna kind of hit the hands a little bit more. I think that guy's good. It's looking pretty decent. And this really just around the barrel, I think, honestly. This is not a spectacular sculpt by any means, so. All right. We'll do a little bit up around the hips here. All right. The Incubus, the Vixen, is good to go. Again, depending on your preferred nomenclature, Intersphere or Clan. Boom. This guy's pretty good to go. I am actually going to hit this little fella's shoulder pauldrons a little bit here. Gonna hit a few of these edges on the front and the back and on the tops there. I think it's just gonna, I don't know, it'll look weird if just the weapon has bright edge highlighting around it, so I figure the shoulders should probably have some bright edge highlights. They're high up on the miniature. Cool. That's about good. Yeah. This guy is good to go. Boom. Cool. Alrighty. All these are edge highlighted. I'm pretty happy with that. I'll probably come back in with a slightly brighter gray and do a little bit of dry brushing right after this break. We're just going to do that to add a little bit of scuffing and like basic weathering, essentially, at least the start of some basic weathering. Might even go in with a little bit of sponging along with that dry brush, and then we'll fill in some of that lighter gray that we're going to go in with. We're going to fill that in with a darker kind of brownish gray to show like scratching to the material below. But yeah, it's going to look pretty good. And then after that, weapon effects. Oh baby. And then that means if we do all the weapon effects tonight, we can just focus on canopies and jump jets on the next stream, which would be super awesome. So anyways, let's take about 10 minutes, folks. I've got 9:18 on my clock. We'll call it 9:19 because it's 9:18 and change. We'll be back by 9:29. I'll see you then. All right. I did realize I did mention earlier in the stream that we'd probably airbrush a couple little stars onto a couple of these mechs. Might save that for next stream. I think I'm just going to focus on smashing out the last few dings and scratches and the weapon effects tonight. And then next stream we'll just focus on canopies, jump jets, and a couple of those stars. Should go pretty well. If we finish the weapon effects, I wouldn't mind doing some of the initial base coating on the bases, just because that's just kind of a monotonous task. And if we can just get the base brown at least slapped on there, just saves us one step later on. So yeah, we're probably going to go until about 10:45 Central, depending on your time zone. It's 9:27 right now. We'll go into about 10:45 painting. We'll hop into chat. We'll go into the Discord, take a look at the stuff that's in the real-time painting channel, discuss that, and then we'll close out around or shortly thereafter at 11. So yeah, let's hop back over to the painting desk. We'll get back to it and smash through kind of some scratches and scuffs, and then we'll get on to the weapon effects. Loaded with another Diet Coke here, so I'm gonna send it on another one here. I'll do a little sippy sip. I'm gonna put this over here actually, so I grab it less, hopefully. Ready? Phone out of the way. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab just right here. Never mind. Boom. We're gonna grab a little bit of a lighter. This is a cold gray from Vallejo. This brush is relatively dry, and that's kind of what we want. I want like a chalkier, scratchier look when I swipe this. I'm gonna do something like that. Boom. Literally, it looks like scratches, and I'm gonna swipe in the direction that I want it to go. Let me zoom out slightly. I just realized I zoomed like 100% in, which is no bueno. I think any camera would struggle there. But yeah, you can see I've got these like nice little scratch marks. This is a brighter gray, so we're just going to put this on very sparingly, just mostly on like kind of the lower legs and the feet. And then we'll come back in with a detail brush real quick and do a couple little scratches as well. Just very minor ones. I think that's about it for that guy. Pardon me. And we're only going to do this for a handful of these mechs, too. We're not going to do this for every single one. I don't think there's a need. Cheap and shitty, but oh well. That's alright. That actually kind of looks like it's already kind of chipped and scuffed, like just with the color variation. There's some of the dark mixed in there, so that's actually kind of nice. I'll come back in probably after I do some of the scratching and add in the darker color, as I mentioned earlier. Add a little bit on this this Nova. So I feel like that could be a little bit brighter. Just a little touch. Maybe I'll do every single one just a little bit. Just a tiny wee bit. A little bit more on the brush. Much. Oh, you know, we're gonna let that fly. Whatever. It was a big sploosh of paint. A very light touch. Oops. On the remainder of this. I think that's good. Do a bit on this Vapor Eagle for sure because it's got these big old getaway sticks. Same thing on the Nada Wolverine 2C. Especially on like the outsides of the legs, but on the insides as well. Especially on the outsides. Well, that's good. Now here, I'm gonna go kind of hard on the outside of that leg. Same thing with this one. All right, that guy looks pretty good. Gonna do a touch on the Incubus and then the Piranha. Oops. That's good, and good. All right, that's it for that. Sip of my drink. On the silence here, folks, I'm just staring at my baby monitor, watching my daughter roll around in her crib right now. She is still, well, she's on the mend now, but she's been very sick the last few days. Poor kid. Alrighty. I'm gonna grab the Warhawk. I'm gonna grab my detail brush and go in with that same gray that I just was using. It's a cold gray, and I'm just gonna reinforce a few areas with some scratches, like chips. Like that. Kind of tap along the edges. Just like so. Make sure I do it kind of on the front as well. So, pardon my shaky hands. That is in fact me and not the camera shaking. A few to the inside, I think, like the inside of the leg. The tap, the same for most of it. Boom. There. Now you can kind of see that that's the area I was working on. The angle wasn't so good. It was just the only angle I could really hold it at so I could still see it. I'm going to go ahead and reinforce a few of these on this side of the shin. That's good. All right, that one's good to go. We'll go to the Timberwolf. This one we're really not going to do all of them. We're only going to do a few of these. This area here. Go to those areas where it was already heavily dry brushed and just kind of reinforce them. See if I can put a couple little scratches across that that NovaCat logo. I'll add a little bit of character, just like that. I'm going to add just a little bit of damage up here. That. A very, very small amount, just add some character. I'm going to go ahead and zoom this back out a little bit more. Doesn't feel so claustrophobic. I'm going to do the inside of the right leg. I'm going to do a couple stipple area. Whoa! That's very unfortunate. Just kind of flood that with some water and wipe that off. And we'll let that sit. We'll let that dry off. I'm going to come to the other side here. Some little scratches on the outside there. And make sure I do the front as well, because if it's getting that banged up on the side, it's for sure going to get banged up along the front. This is a very nice process. Like, I really enjoy doing like quick little scuffs and scratches because it's very organic. You don't really have to be super accurate. Gotta be kind of accurate, but not super accurate. It's very nice. So, I think that's probably good to go. I'm not gonna fuss with that too much more. Go to the Conjurer. We'll do this Conjurer, the Vapor Eagle, and the Horned Owl, and then that's it. We're going on to weapon effects. And this guy's really not getting a huge amount, just a little bit down on the legs, I think. Trying to find some of these areas where I have like chunky edge highlights and just kind of fill out a few more scratches and stuff like that. So if you have like an area where there's a panel line, doing stuff on like either side of the panel line is always good. And then you can come in, just kind of like tap down that edge and above it along either side. Fill that in. Still got that recess, and you can come back in just with a. I'm just going to go in with that black gray, and just to redefine where I want that recess to really be. Just reinforce it. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna do like a really quick one, really quick little scratch on the outside. That'll be a good one to come back in with a darker color. That's all I'm doing. And then same thing with this. Do a couple quick ones. There's moisture in my brush there. I want to pick up some of that gray. Again, I want to have the adjacent front panel show some continuity. If I have these big gashes on the sides, probably got some contact happening on the front. I'm gonna come along some of these edges. So that's pretty heavy scuffing and scratching. I wouldn't really go any heavier than that. That's pretty hefty. I'll be filling that in with some darker color. And on the contrast that with like a much more modest amount right over here. Just like that. Front here. The feet are going to get dirty anyway, so I'm not too worried about putting a lot of detail in the feet. There's light scratches. I'll have this leg be a little bit less beat up. I do got to kind of build out the inside of the right leg. Loading on my brush here, part of the angle. There we go. I see that. Oops, let me back this up a little bit. Pardon me. Yep, I think that's about all that guy needs. Nothing too crazy. All right, we're gonna go to the Vapor Eagle. I'm gonna zoom this out slightly because this is very claustrophobic to paint like this. And then we're going to do a couple bigger scuffs and scratches on the legs. So not going to do too much on this guy. I don't want to get too crazy. I got a little bit crazy on the other guy. hit the edges. Pardon the angle. I'm just trying to get the inside of the shin. It's really the only angle I can hit it at. Going at it from that angle, from the front if I can. Kind of hard to see. Alrighty, I think that's about good. I don't really want to mess around too much with that. Before we crack on with the weapon effects and put on the final touches with this stuff, which is just going to be a mix of, we're going to use a bit of burnt umber ink. Whoops. It's from Dowler and Rowney. Their FW line. Now this is a translucent ink. It's not fully transparent, semi-transparent, so it's translucent. I like mixing this with a really, really dark gray. In this case, I'm going to use black gray. I'm going to get a big gob of that. Move that over here. So my brush. I'm going to grab a good amount of this burnt umber and mix it in straight up with all of that black gray. So this is going to create like this big shitty mix of gray and brown, and it's going to kind of look like once we paint this on, it's going to look like this paint's been scored or burned through or scraped through to the material below, and maybe that material is starting to oxidize a little bit. Just want to test the whoops, a little hair stuck there. Test the consistency. Oh, that's good. Hopefully this doesn't dry on my brush immediately. I'm just gonna kind of find these areas we worked on, and we're just gonna kind of tap, fill a few of these areas in very modestly. Just like less is more on this. I'll zoom this in just slightly more. Now, you'll notice I kind of followed that scratch there. I tried to keep the dark line on the top half of the scratch. Didn't really succeed at the start there, but that's okay. Part of that is just I'm trying to create the impression that there's like a small shadow being cast over a gouge. Again, I'm just finding those really prominent areas where we added some of the scratches and scuff marks. Just filling in a little bit with some of this dark mixture. I've added a little bit more brown to this mix because this is already a very dark gray, like a very dark gray rather. So I'm trying to have this be a little bit more brown than dark gray. And I'll kind of vary the mix depending on the paint scheme that I'm working with. If it's a very warm paint scheme, I'll have the mixture be more gray. If it's a very neutral scheme or cold scheme, I'll have the mixture be very warm with brown. All right, that's probably good. Show the inside there. I like that. This is a small step. Doesn't take that long, you know. It takes a little bit of time, but not long, and it adds a lot of character. Just like so. Then I got that gouge look. Less is more with this step, so I'm not doing too much. Just again, really trying to find those really prominent areas. Well, that's about good. Conjurer has got key areas that have quite a bit of. Oops, offload some of that. Back down to this side. Really, really, really enjoy this step. Fun, fun, fun. Got a tiny little other area here to add. Going to Vapor Eagle and then the Horned Owl. There's really not much new on the Vapor Eagle. Go. Probably just really on that spot on the leg. Zoom back out slightly. Grab the Horned Owl. The areas on the legs to do. Try to do these really quickly. Want to get on to doing some lasers. All these edges that are super bright down here. Cool. The other side here, and this will be done. Just a little bit on this side, don't do much. Yeah, that's good. Cool. Really, really digging this one. Okay, we're going to get on to some lasers. I think we're probably not going to finish these until end of next Monday's stream, but that's okay. Just doing the mental math in my head, there's still a few details. Like I want to do caution stripes in the missile pods. I'll have to do that eventually. So still got a few streams left, but that's okay. This has been a really fun project to work on. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and get started on some medium lasers. So I'm going to zoom out slightly here. How about all the way? Gonna grab some green skin. This is green skin from Army Painter. Throw a little bit of that on the palette. Then I'll grab Goblin Green. Hello, hope I'm not too late. What's going on, Manchardos? Definitely not too late. We're about to start painting lasers. It's Goblin Green. And Snake Scales, also from Army Painter. And I've already got white on the palette. Go ahead and grab. Pardon me. Oh, nice. I love painting lasers. Those are some old pots. Oh boy. Oh yeah. I've got some old paint pots. Definitely for sure. That's just a bit of artist ink. It's just it looks like a neon, but it's actually not. It's just leaf green. Yeah. It's a transparent ink. This is a translucent fluorescent yellow ink. I'm going to add this to this as well. That's how we make these things really pop. So a lot of the lasers on all of the, on most of these mechs are going to be medium type lasers, whether they're medium pulses or ER mediums. I just do all my medium lasers in green. I kind of go with the MechWarrior Online colors. And I believe it's kind of like just the MechWarrior 5 colors as well for lasers. So there's a small laser in the torso of the Timberwolf that I'll have to hit later on. The Nova's got tons of spicy flashlights. So we'll be hitting up a bunch of these. Just gonna fill them completely because we're gonna do these as though they're being fired, I guess. We're gonna have them glowing bright because it's quick and easy to do them that way. We don't have to be as accurate. Place that guy down. Fire Moth has all small lasers and a flamer, so I'm going to leave that off to the side. All my small lasers are going to get painted red, like fluorescent red. Pretty sure this guy's got medium pulses in the torso. I'm going to double check. I'm going to go in Mech Factory and double check here on the record sheet because I just want to be sure. Mech Factory is a pretty handy little app if you haven't heard of it. You have to make an account, but it's like a free account and you just sign up with your email address. It's pretty good. ER medium lasers in the right torso, yeah. So those are getting painted green. And that was that easy. I just had to confirm the location and what filled that location. There we go. Got those filled. The laser here is like a large laser, so we'll do that later. Vapor Eagle, I'm pretty sure he's got multiple medium lasers. Let's double check. Sure, let's pull this up together. Show what it looks like. This is the home page. Database, Max, and we're going to go Vapor Eagle. It's the standard version. It's a clan battle mech, not a Omni mech. Oh boy, this guy's just absolutely loaded to the tits with shit. Medium pulse laser, left torso, okay. 2 medium pulses in the right. There's something else in the left torso as well. Oh, machine gun. So that's what that tiny little barrel is up on the torso. What's in the left arm? 3 machine guns in the left arm. Interesting. Okay. And the right arm has a large pulse laser, just like the Conjurer does. Okay, cool. Cool. Those are SRM2 pods in the left and right torsos and the shoulders. Cool. This guy I know for sure has medium pulses, or they're ER mediums in the arms, and then a large laser in the CT. This dude's just got a bunch of small lasers. And pretty sure this is small with a large. I'm going to double check. Bus. So ER mediums in the side torsos. Interesting. Okay. And then the large pulse in the arm. Cool. Alrighty. That makes my job easy. I just like doing that to quickly delineate, so I can like delineate all the medium lasers. That way I can quickly paint them in, at least in their base colors. Sometimes I'll paint all of the weapons in their base colors quickly, just that way there's no confusion. But here, once I do all of these, I'll have a really good idea and understanding of the rest of them. Medium lasers are half the battle, because the medium lasers are the most common weapon system on any mech. It just is a state of being. Thanks for the follow, Russell Lyons. Sorry, I didn't hear the alert for that. I don't think my alert went off. I don't think my alert system went off at all for that, actually. I'll have to check that after. That's unfortunate. But I'm happy I see it up in the chat. That's handy. Okay. Have to fill in that whole laser. Oops. Got the Vixen, the Incubus rather. These little side torso lasers. These are the ER mediums. For me, so I like keeping my colors consistent for each laser type, because it just kind of takes some of the thinking out of it. I don't know, some people like going with contrasting colors that contrast the paint scheme. I just like keeping things consistent. That's just my preference. Next color we're going to use, we're going to go back to the Timberwolf. This was the first one that we layered up the green skin color. This is the next color, which is Goblin Green. We're going to just fill the hole. Fill it. It's flowing off this brush really well right now. This Goblin Green in particular is a little bit thinner out of the bottle. Just by reason only because I've used this Goblin Green in my airbrush, and I've put some of the paint back in with a little bit of thinner, so it's actually kind of nice. It's like the perfect consistency out of the bottle. I don't really have to thin it on my wet palette. I just add a tiny little bit of water to my brush, just to keep my brush hydrated, and that's about it. What barrier do you use in your wet palette? Rice paper, baking parchment. I use baking parchment. I use the unbleached stuff. Yeah, unbleached only. It's a Paper Chef brand specifically. I do have like acrylic palette paper that came with my wet palette, but I just don't like it. I just find it it almost hydrates my paint too much, if that makes sense. Whereas this just kind of helps my paint helps keep it from drying out. Ken Hodge, absolutely consistent for me as well. Easier to inform others, new players, and they can keep it straight as well as until they know next more. Yeah, 100%. And for me, it just kind of helps me remember, like, oh yeah, this mech has like these weapon types on it. I don't know. Maybe that's just the absolute super dork in me. Probably is, but nothing wrong with that, I guess. Next guy, Vapor Eagle. I'm gonna double check that Fire Moth record sheet. I think it's a Fire Moth E. I want to see if I'm pretty sure it just has small, like ER small lasers or small pulse lasers, but I want to double check to make sure it doesn't have any medium type lasers. Yeah, so I do mediums. I do small type in red, medium type in green, and then large type in PPCs in blue. That's just kind of my go-to color choice. And then missiles, I'll do like a wider range of colors, or a wide array of colors rather. Like I'll do red, I'll do yellow, I'll do white. I'll do a mix of colors. Like I'll like different missiles will be different colors, that kind of thing. I try to follow Mech 5 when it comes to laser colors, yeah, same. But it will also change if it goes better with the scheme. I typically won't do green medium lasers if the canopy in the mech is going to be predominantly green. Interesting. Yeah, fair enough. I guess I'm a slave to habit. That's just me, I guess. Oh, you know what? I'm pretty sure this guy. I'm gonna double check the Fire Moth and the Piranha because I'm pretty sure that Fire Moth. Pretty sure the Fire Moth just has smalls, but I think the Piranha has a couple mediums. That is no, it's not an E. Oh, I think it's a D. Dash or D. Yes. Oh wow, they're all mediums. Okay. Good thing I checked that. Whoops. No, let's go back. Oh, that's my daughter. I'll have to blur her face out on the recording. Go to Piranha. Yeah. ER mediums in the arms. Okay. Let's add the base color quick. And it's just all ER mediums for the lasers. Scrubbing a little bit of paint off that I didn't want there. And I'll grab the Piranha and throw some in the arms. Seem like big boy lasers. Like just size-wise, they seem almost like large lasers, not mediums. Like all the small lasers on this seem more like mediums just in terms of their size when compared to some of the others. Some of the other mechs, I mean. Okay, go back to the Fire Moth here. Firebot deconfig. Who doesn't want the D? I know I can't resist. Giggity. Let me place that color back there. And then I'll go ahead and grab a little bit more of that Goblin Green. And I'm kind of waiting for that to dry actually, so I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Go ahead and grab the Goblin Green. No, this is basically dry. Stand. Cool. Good to go. I'm going to go back to the Timberwolf. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab the snake scales. So I'm definitely thinning this down. Reasonable amount. It's pretty thick out of the bottle. It's very bright. Reasonably thin there. Now, I'm filling the deepest recesses, but I don't want to completely cover the previous layer that we've created, so do take note of that. Don't cover all your previous work with this color. That's good. You need to add a little bit more water to my wet palette here. Let's keep the bottle handy. Just whoops. Suddenly dropped a big drop of water in my black ink. That's okay. I'm not really using it at the moment, so. Offload a little bit of the excess moisture. Back in here. I'm going to leave like a little ring of that darker green. On some of these muzzles, it's going to be kind of hard because some of these are just really cast very poorly. There's actually not a lot of recess on these, but we will do our best. I hate saying I'm doing my best. I always think back to that line Sean Connery says in that movie The Rock. Best. Doing your best. Losers always whine about doing their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Pardon my language. But, epic line. Especially coming from Sean Connery. My goodness. These are some pretty terribly casted lasers right here. The Alpha Strike box set, for whatever reason. The Clan mechs in particular didn't have very good casting. The Innersphere mechs seemed pretty decent. But yeah, I don't know. It's very bizarre. This guy, A little bit more moisture in my brush. I don't like this. This paint is so thick out of the bottle. This snake scales. That's one thing. I actually don't mind army painter paints. I don't think they're bad necessarily. Like some people are just like, no, they're terrible. They're terrible paints. I disagree. I definitely think that they're inconsistent though. And I think a lot of it just has to do with consistency. But once you get them to the right consistency, I think they're great paints. They're not as well pigmented as some other brands, but I mean, for like what you pay for, I think they're good to go. Thought I saw the Streamline pop up earlier today. Been seeing her stuff for a while. Gorgeous, man. ASYLUM. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Happy you popped in. Stay a while. Listen. Not gonna lie, I'm thinking about all the snacks I'm gonna make after I hop off this stream. Don't know what I'm gonna eat yet, but I'm definitely gonna eat. Might make a grilled cheese. I don't really have good bread for it right now. I just have like really like healthy rye bread. It's like hard and crunchy. AP Fanatic. Monument is nice for a few key colors, but yeah, predominantly army painter here. Switch to either scale 75 or Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl. Yeah, I have a huge mix. Like I have Citadel, Army Painter, Vallejo, Formula P3, Pro Acryl, AK. Like, yeah, like I have a huge mix. Been trying to falling in love with your light boxes. I've been trying to find artwork to backdrop it and then figure out how to put one together. So I don't use a light box. I actually use the lighting that's on my desk here, and that is how I take my photos. And even before I had this nice lighting that I have here, I used like 2 selfie ring lights kind of opposing at an angle facing in, and then I had my like desk lamp, my adjustable desk lamp, and that would kind of be like my focal light. I don't like a lot of light boxes because a lot of them tend to put LEDs slightly behind whatever you're taking photos of, and having the LEDs behind whatever you're trying to take photos of creates backlighting and actually kind of creates issues for the camera. So I like to have all the lighting kind of like forwards and to the sides, essentially. And yeah, I just set up a tripod, and I just, you know, I used to have a table in my basement that I would set up just like 2 $10 selfie lamps and a like a desk lamp that was adjustable. That's what I took photos on for a few years. Oh yeah, they definitely it's an interesting look having the light in your eyes. I kind of like it, but yeah, I could definitely see unhinged, especially if you have a very expressive face. You could definitely see it, make it seem really unhinged. But if you're just smiling, it looks nice. Yeah, I use selfie ring lights, just kind of opposing angles as like fill lights, and then just an adjustable desk lamp to kind of put some focal light on an area. Go back to the Timberwolf here. All right, so we're going to do the first little bit of pure white. This is just pure white ink that we're going to throw in. We're going to put like a little dot in the middle. I guess kind of a big dot, but we're doing a bigger dot this time than we're going to do on the next step. The next time that we do a dot. Once we hit all of these with white, we're going to come back in with that green ink, that leaf green ink, super vibrant, and we're going to hit all of these barrels, and that's going to turn this white into a super vibrant green. Then we'll go back in with the white ink again here, make a very, very tiny dot in the very middle of that. And then we're going to come back in with the fluorescent yellow ink and then glaze that on. And that's going to be like the final little mwah on top of everything. Taking a peek at my baby monitor. Dog's rolling around a little bit, but she's quiet, so. I move around a lot in my sleep and always have, so I won't be surprised. That's just how she is forever. Need to get some foam and package all those miniature trees off Amazon. I have all the basic materials that I thought should be able to make nice patch ground nice. Yeah, I like using so if you're going to build a photo stage, a lot of people go with rectangular ones, and I have a couple rectangular ones. But I've switched to using kind of an oval, as my base shape for it, like a very oblong oval, and like have it facing me widthwise, so like, you know, the wide side is facing the camera, and then what I feel like that does is creates a rounded edge on the very back end, and it just helps to create a more natural, like, horizon line, essentially, where your backdrop is going to meet the actual back of the photo stage. So that's one thing I've started doing quite a bit, and I don't fall into the trap of putting your backdrop right up against the back of your diorama photo stage. Have like at least a half foot of standoff between your backdrop and your diorama. Have your diorama sitting on something like an inch or inch and a half, maybe 2 inches off your table. Have it sitting like 6 inches ahead of your backdrop, and then have your backdrop positioned. And that'll help create a bit of depth. It'll also help get rid of some of the shadow that might be cast on your backdrop. It's a trap that I fell into for a lot of my earlier photos. I always had my backdrop right up against my my photo stage, and the photos looked decent because of how, like, I emphasize a lot of focal plane just around the miniature, and still kind of do in many ways, but now I tend to get a lot more of the entire scene in focus. So I really try to focus on getting a lot of space between my stage and my backdrop to avoid any shadow, and just try to create like that sense of depth. And I even have so my urban photo stage, where it's kind of like the train station in the background with the apartment building. That apartment building isn't sitting on the photo stage. It's sitting behind the photo stage, between the photo stage and the backdrop. It's sitting on the desk, whereas the photo stage is sitting like sitting on something, sitting on my wet palette case, actually, like an inch above the desktop. So then it almost looks like it's like the back of the photo stage is like a hill rolling down towards this apartment building, and then there's the backdrop off in the distance, which is mountains with the sun setting. So you're creating like right there, I have like 4 layers really. I have the foreground, which is ahead of the miniature. I have the midground where the miniature is positioned, the background, and then like the backdrop. So it's pretty awesome. Creating like multiple layers of depth. I really enjoy the photography aspect. It's something I always found it really hard to get miniature scenes to look good in photos when I was really like just starting out, and so that's just kind of one of those things I started geeking out on really. Like threw a little bit too much ink in that other laser. See if I can flood that and scrub it out a little bit. Yeah, good enough. Go ahead and get a really thin amount of the white ink and just kind of get it into this recess around the central diode. Pretty what I mean there. Pretty much that whole laser is nice and bright. We're going to go ahead and filter these in a minute here. Right, I'm looking at it right now, and I think I see it now, but without explaining it, it all comes together as one really well, yeah. It's kind of the same thing with like the new backdrop that I have, which is I have like all my Air Dotty Light Horse stuff, photos taken on it and everything. It's got like hills and a couple mountains in the backdrop with like the buildings and the tarmac. That one I just have the backdrop like half a foot spaced out from behind the back of the photo stage, and that's also an oval photo stage. So I really like Michaels has like these 12-inch, it's like 12 by 9-inch wooden like ovals that are kind of beveled on the sides. I love using those as bases for photo stages. You can just like glue cut bits of like foam core board, EVA foam, cork, and whatever other material. You can just glue it onto it and build your own little landscape. And because it's already an oval, it creates a great guide and kind of outline for you to build upon. Big fan of those. Okay, we're gonna hop back to the Timberwolf. This is a little bit long-winded doing this because we're doing this as a batch. So we have to go through all the mechs that need this color, and then we're going to come back to the beginning. But we're going to go ahead and add this in. Zoom in slightly. Pretty bright. We'll go back in with the white again after, and we're going to add the yellow. I'm just going to try to, I flooded couple of these a little bit heavily. I'm just trying to get some of the ink out, so I don't want them to be opaque. And a little bit of water to my brush. Just gonna flood these quickly and then offload my brush, wipe it clean, and then wick away the excess here. Better late than never, GS Twitch, what's going on? Oh. I'm also noticing with this jumping around a bit conversation-wise here, I'm noticing a bit, in addition to, when it comes to this camera setup, I'm noticing in addition to the added stability, the camera position seems to be a bit better, and I don't feel like my head is dropping into the frame as much. Just got back from watching the Fantastic Four and caught your stream. Nice. How was the Fantastic Four? I'm going to be kind of honest. I feel like Pedro Pascal is a little bit overexposed right now. His thing with what's her name, Kirby, is pretty kind of a little bit weird too. But what did you think of the movie? Curious. Asha Kirby, is that what her name is? Can't remember. I enjoyed it, but I love all superhero movies, so my opinion isn't worth much. I see. Yeah, I've got superhero movie fatigue. I kind of started getting fatigue after Endgame. I don't like the Superman movies, to be brutally honest. I'm not like huge into superhero movies. Also, my favorite superhero only ever got one movie, and it wasn't a great movie. It really needs to get revisited. They did a great series as well that didn't last long because it was a little bit before its time, and that would be Spawn. Spawn is by far my favorite. I mean, he's not really, I guess he's kind of an anti-hero of sorts. He's not really like a true superhero. He's an anti-hero. But kind of like Venom, I guess. But he's by far my favorite, and I think he deserves a better movie, better recognition. I'd even be fine with Michael Jai White doing the role again. He definitely looked the part. Spawn was great. Love the animated series. Yeah, like the animated series was unreal. I think it was HBO that made it, right? But yeah, it was way ahead of its time. Like, and I'm a big fan of Todd McFarlane because he's also an Alberta boy. He's from Calgary, and I was born in Calgary. The month the first issue of Spawn came out, which was April 1992. It's when I was born, and that's when my dad got into Spawn as well. So there's a lot to unpack there. But yeah, Spawn is just the shit. But yeah, Todd McFarlane, like, I mean, the cartoon was just a little bit ahead of its time. Like, it was so dark, like super, super dark. The Punisher's pretty good too. I like the Punisher. I never got too deep into Punisher. Like, I was a big fan of the Thomas Jane movie. Didn't like Punisher Warzone. I like John Barenthal's Punisher, like the first season. Didn't like the second season. All right. Whoops, I don't need this guy right now. I need my Timberwolf. All right, we're gonna do like the final touches here. We're gonna do a bit of white in the middle, just a tiny, tiny dot, like the tiniest dot, tiniest of tiny. I ordered myself some Bluetooth headphones because I have some studio headphones that have a cable that go to my AKG studio headphones in my PC, and they're great for gaming. They're open soundstage, so like if my wife calls my name, I can actually hear her because they're not noise canceling. And the sound quality is fantastic, but with how my little corner of our shared office is set up, trying to navigate between both desks, like my painting desk and my PC desk while I'm running the stream, or just while I'm painting in general, because I like to listen to things when I'm painting. It's just brutal. I'm always getting tangled up in the cable. So I got myself some Bluetooth headphones, and from some JBLs. They're pretty good. Paid like $100 Canadian for them, so it's like $20 US right there. But they're pretty nice, really comfortable. I'm wearing glasses, like my prescription glasses, which I only really ever wear when I'm gaming or painting. And even with these on and the brims being pinned between the headphones in my head, they're pretty comfortable. So 10 out of 10. So far, a very good experience. I have my first 15 issues or so of Spawn. I have like the first 87 issues of Spawn. I have two of the first issues, actually. 2 copies of it. They're all in slip jackets with cardboard backers as well. Inherited those from my dad. Very happy about that because they're in really good condition. Have them in my closet, actually, like 12 feet away from me. Among other things that I have comic book wise, I also have it's kind of a funny one. So when I was a kid, I had a membership to Lego magazine back when that was a thing. So this would have been like the late 90s, early 2000s. And when Bionicle became all the rage, that's right, Bionicle, they had a comic book series of Bionicle, and it came free with each issue of Lego magazine. But if you wanted, they also sold it in the store, in comic book stores. But you had to pay for it in the comic book store, so it was pretty cool. I got them for, Lego magazine was completely free. It was a 3-year subscription, completely free. You just had to sign up, and I signed up as a little kid. Got permission from my parents to fill it out and mail it. And for like 3 years, I got magazines once a month, and then comic books when they started the Bionicle comic books. So long-winded thing to say that I have a number of I think I have like the first 12 issues of the Bionicle series. The comic books are not in good condition, but kind of fun to flip through them occasionally because I had tons of Bionicle, dude. I was a huge Lego nerd. I'm actually astounded at how expensive it is these days. It was always expensive, but holy shit. You need to take out a goddamn second mortgage on your house if you want to get a whole collection of something. Right. This one as well. We touch this, but No, we didn't. Yeah. Oh, too much in there, but that's okay. Whatever. All right, now we're gonna go in with the fluorescent yellow, and that's all she wrote for the medium lasers. And they're all gonna look beautiful, like they're glowing, because they are. Because this is a fluorescent ink. So the fluorescent ink, this yellow, is just kind of tinting all this previous color and making it super, like, I don't know, yellow ink over green just makes the green super vibrant. So it's always really good. And on top of making it vibrant, because it has fluorescent particles in it, it actually like glows under direct white light. So that's why they appear super, super bright. And it's because they're literally catching the light and then like re-emitting that, some of that light as a chemical effect. Boom. Super, super bright. Look at that. All the way down here, like away from that light source, like they're still super bright. No kidding, another reason I got back into Battletech, cost. Yeah. Yeah, like I don't know, I like to dabble in Warhammer, but holy shit, Warhammer's expensive. Battletech's starting to get up there now too, though. I mean, with the whole tariff thing, and then I don't know, Iron Wind Metals was already kind of expensive for their metal miniature kits. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Cool, nice and bright. Got the Conjurer. Those are super bright, especially like straight on with the task lamp. Really bright. Some people say Battletech is the same as GW, but no way, definitely not. Games Workshop's insanely expensive. Like I've been buying Games Workshop products since I was a kid, so like it's insane. It's insanely expensive. Yeah, there's a lot of Iron Wind I need to get eventually because I want to do some Space Naval games. Yeah, I really like a lot of the Aerotech / Battle Space stuff. BTEC is getting crazy here in Canada with the tariff from China to the US. Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. I feel that. Thankfully, I get a lot of my stuff discounted just because I'm CSO. Otherwise, I'd be feeling it a lot more. I'm feeling it just because of the currency exchange rate, much less, tariffs. Required model count for Battletech is lower than 40k though. Yeah, 100%. You can get away with literally a single miniature and play classic and have like a good game that lasts a couple hours. Or you can do a Lance versus Lance, spend like a whole day doing that in classic. Or you can play like Lance Plus or Company Plus with Alpha Strike and have it only take a few hours at most, really. This one, a box of 20 Guardsmen was 32 maple bucks. Yeah, like my very first kit when I was like 9. So this would have been like 2000, 2001 was a set of 3rd edition Space Marines, and they were $32 Canadian for 10 miniatures. That's, yeah, crazy. I think it was $28, and then a pack of, I got a set of Tyranid Termagants with the Ripper Swarm, and that was $32. Yeah, it was like 28 to $32 for both of those. Like crazy. Whoops, what am I doing? Go ahead and add on the last couple miniatures here that need the yellow ink. The yellow just adds such a nice color quality to these. Like it already looks really nice and bright with the everything else we had, but adding the yellow ink just adds a really nice color quality to it. I'm a big fan. I should emphasize fluorescent yellow ink, not just any yellow ink, fluorescent yellow. Go ahead and add it into the horned owl here. Okay. Time is it right? Oh, 10:47. All right, we gotta stop the painting here. This is kind of perfect timing. Next episode, when we continue with the weapon effects, I'm going to show how to do like a little bit of a laser glow effect on the front of the hand. So if you go to my Instagram and go further back, like a year ago, year plus, I have a horned owl painted in my Sigma Galaxy scheme that has like a glow line for the laser. I'm going to do that with this. I'll show you folks how to do that. All right. Fluorescent with large lasers, like or blue. No, blue fluorescent ink just kind of sucks. Any blue fluorescents in general kind of suck, because the blue paint or the blue ink in of itself isn't a bright blue, and it doesn't really glow that well under like black light or even normal white light. So like it just doesn't do what most other fluorescents do. So I would just avoid fluorescent blue in general. I actually have fluorescent blue ink right here, and you can see how much dust has accumulated on the top of this bottle, because it is, like, honestly should just throw it out. I just keep it around just in case there's that one day or that one thing that it might come in handy for. I just don't see it, but yeah, this thing's covered in dust because I just literally never use it. Is that paint handle the topper piece of Thunderhead Studios STL? That is correct. I've tried with the larger, there's like the larger hook that comes up to like, here, basically. I prefer just this one. I think the other one's just a little bit overkill, personally, but this is really handy. And yeah, this sticks on. What's up? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and cap off my brush here. We will hop over to my PC. We'll hop over to Discord and we'll chit chat for like 15 minutes, and then we'll close out the stream. Zoom out quickly here and see what these guys are looking like. Boom. These have come quite a long way since we first started them. All right. I'm going to pop up Discord here. Still got 11 viewers on Twitch and 3 on YouTube. Nice. 14. Over a dozen. That's awesome. Good stream so far. Let's pop over on Twitch, or correction, Discord. Don't switch. We're going to go into the real-time painting. Real-time painting chat. So we'll go up to kind of where we left off after last stream, which was with the lobster. This is pretty cool. So it's like a 3D print that can either be used as a night star or a king crab. Pretty cool. Pretty unique looking. So definitely doesn't really step on the toes of the IP, I don't think. Oh, I really dig this. I don't have my cursor visible right now. Here, let me see it. I want to make my cursor visible. Capture cursor, yes. I actually don't think it's showing. Oh, yeah, there we go. Perfect, yeah. Here we go. This right here. Oh, yeah. I love that. That Sky Earth non-metallic metal, that is beautiful. Super nice. That's Comstar Knight. Why am I not surprised? I love the little tree for sense of scale too. Yeah, this is me posting my stuff. So this is the old setup that I used to have. This is a can't really zoom in any further, but had like just a single articulating arm there. Whereas now, I've got this nice crossbar, super stable. Got the dual ball head mount. It's pretty nice. Digging this whole setup. Comstar Knight, working on some of his monochromatic purple stuff. I really enjoy how much that purple pops. Got his Marauder, the two-tone cockpit. I really dig that. Mantardis, working on a Lance of 21st Gallatin regulars. I love Panthers. It's just such a iconic Kurita mech. And I kind of find the face reminds me of that like cat meme with the girl or the lady from Housewives yelling across the table. Comstar Knight with the finished works. I love that two-dimensional paint job on the bases. Got to clean up that base though, son. What is that? You got to clean that up with some black. You're not done there, Comstar Knight. Oh yeah, I gotta. So Mantardis, I gotta respond to this. I'll respond to this in text as well as verbally here. So he asked, what was the formula for the white on my Hatamoto Chi from Sunjiang Cadre? So it was like a white mech with blue stripes. So I actually base coated that in somber gray, which is a very dark gray. It's actually the first edge highlight color we used on the black on our mechs that we're working on today. And then I layered up to a blue gray, which was wolf gray from Army Painter. It's like a very heavy blue gray, like mid-tone dark blue gray. And then layered up just with successively brighter and brighter grays until doing very small final area highlights with an off-white, and then edge highlighted with a pure white. And I leave a ton of the darker gray showing through on that mech. If you actually like zoom in, and if you take it into like Photoshop and pull up the color picker tool that helps you identify colors on the color swatch, like you will see there's actually a shitload of really dark gray visible, and that's what creates like the really high contrast white look. Most of it is like mid-tone gray, but it's just highlighted and shaded in a way that makes it look like a really bright white that's shaded with like a blue tone. Oh wow, yes. Antennas. The antennas make me happy. I love it. That's awesome. Discord link. I'll drop that in chat. Invite. Boom. We're in the real-time painting channel. Oh, little play-by-play from Pelikowski. Trying to do some airbrush layering. Looks like he did kind of what I do with a bit of brown and then layered green over top. The brown helps to give a lot of good shading. Seems like he was having some issues with the airbrush clogging. That's unfortunate. It happens. Oh, the Red Baron. What are these? Oh, beautiful red. I'll be brutally honest, I don't recognize these. Oh, these must be Cav, aren't they? These must be Cav miniatures. Diablo Tristram remix music? Yes. This is so this song in particular that we're listening to is not Diablo, but this is Halo. But all the songs that we've listened to so far on the stream are just like Blizzard and a few other company games with their music remixed into lo-fi beats. Suge. Oh yeah, look at that summoner. Beautiful. Suge, his name is Eric Berg. He's one of the other Camo Specs guys. This is, sorry, that was Mantardis. Some of the different stages of development. I'm loving the weathering, like super heavy weathering. I love heavy weathering on my stuff. I have some green mechs with some pretty significant weathering. All right, it's pretty good. Oh yeah, let's zoom in more on Suge's summoner. Yeah, switch. Yeah, I'm the cab guy. Nice. Oh, I missed Mantardis's comment there. Awesome, thank you. I have some mechs in cleaner white. I got to do and was inspired. Nice. Yeah, it's like white is one of those colors that used to intimidate me because it can look very flat and kind of boring if you just do a flat white and panel line. But if you have an airbrush, really focus on only highlighting from like top down and kind of from like 90 degrees upward, essentially. Like, don't like try to avoid painting any undersides with a pure white, essentially. That's what I would say. And even on this, like, pure white should only end up on edges, sharp corners, and like a few very, very small areas on the very, very tops of like miniatures, essentially. Like on this summoner, for example, like all these edges would be pure white, and like maybe you'd have like a small little spot highlight here of pure white. Same with maybe here, a little bit on the shoulders, but that's about it. The rest is going to be like varying shades of gray, lots of like off-white on these higher areas, and then like on these areas that are still kind of facing up, but they're facing more out to the side, those would be more your mid-tone grays. And then all these areas that are facing more downward, those are going to be like mid-tone and dark gray. So, yeah, white is definitely, it's interesting. Paid a bunch of Star Wars Stormtroopers as practice. Yeah, why not? Fish Fins 88 night, folks. Take care. Thanks for hanging out, Fish Fins. Alrighty. It is late. It is 11. This was pretty good. Really enjoyed the stream tonight. We didn't get through all the weapons. That's okay. We did a good amount of the edge highlighting work. Did some sloppy dry brushing. That was pretty fun. I always enjoy a good dry brushing session. Alrighty. I think we'll close her out. That's all for the evening. Appreciate you spending your time with me tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. Next show is going to be on Thursday at 8 Central. Don't miss it. We'll carry on with more work on these bad actors, see how much closer to the finish line we can get. We're going to finish off with the weapon effects, and then going to do the last couple stars on the star fields. Then we'll go on to the jump jets, then the canopies, then the bases, and then we're done. It's pretty good. It's been another relaxing, real-time painting session on Arclight's Asylum. Hope to see you next time. Have a good night, folks. Have a good week. Stay safe.